Howdy, folks. I'm an easygoing, excitable Earth, eagerly eradicating evil eggplants.
I'm Amber.
And here are more evil eggplants for us to eradicate. Amber, let me ask you a question here.
Yes.
What do you have against eggplants?
Nothing. They begin with E, as was my only thinking there. Well, I will say I am not a big fan of eggplants unless you hide them in food. I don't like eating them plain.
There you have it, folks. Amber hates all eggplants and wants them eradicated.
Not what I said. Only the evil ones.
The evil eggplants. Alright, folks, our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Calling the Police on My Daughter's Grandparents? I'm a 26-year-old female, and I have one daughter, Anna, an 8-year-old female. Through a bad relationship with my ex, Mike, a 38-year-old male. It was an extremely manipulative and toxic relationship, and I'm so grateful that I left when I did. I found out that I was pregnant after I left him, and I decided to keep the baby and give birth to Anna all on my own. I tried to get child support from Mike, but he refused, despite having a 6-figure salary. He gave me full custody of Anna as he didn't care at all. Fast forward to today. I have a steady job and I'm raising Anna as a single mom. I love her to bits and would do anything for her well-being. On to the situation. Yesterday, Anna wanted to bike around the block while I was working on my laptop, to which I said sure because I trust her and she's done this numerous times before without any issue. Well, about a half hour later, Anna still isn't back and I start getting concerned. I'm walking around the block and I find nothing. And when I get to my driveway, Anna's bike is there with just a note that said something along the lines of, just wanted to take our granddaughter out for a treat. She is fine and we'll be back by 5 p.m. Dave and Susan. Dave and Susan are Mike's parents, both 70-ish, and I had gotten zero info on this beforehand and freaked out. I called the police and I told them about it and sent them to Dave and Susan's house. I have no idea how they got my address, but needless to say, they found Anna and got her back to me. I'm currently infuriated with Dave and Susan for taking my daughter out without my permission. I am now getting called and told that I am a B for not letting them meet their granddaughter and getting them in trouble with the police for spending time with her by Dave and Susan's entire family. I didn't even know if Anna would be alright, let alone alive, so I think my freakout is understandable. Am I the jerk? Alright folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. They kidnapped your child. Like, if you want to meet a grandchild, the way to go about doing that is talk to their parents. Not, first of all, like, stalk the mom so you find out where she and the kid are living. Wait until she's driving around on her little bike and just, like, kidnap her and leave a note.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that went wrong here in Dave and Susan's mind. I think that before they even considered taking Anna, they should have approached OP and explained that they would like to be part of her life. The fact of the matter is that they went behind OP's back. They didn't approach her. They didn't ask her for permission. And also, OP, I think you need to talk to your daughter and explain to her that she shouldn't get into cars with strangers. I mean, even if they're her grandparents.
Yeah, well, and that does raise a question of, like, has the daughter, like, have they introduced themselves to the daughter before? Like, maybe when she was out playing or something?
Yeah.
You know, like, she's riding around her bike. They might have, come up to her before and approached her. Because if she just went willingly, I'm wondering if they've been planning this out for a while and getting to know her and that sort of stuff. Although,
yeah,
why she wouldn't have said that to OP, I don't know. But they could, well, I guess they probably were like, don't tell your mommy.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, it would have been like, oh, this is a secret between us. Don't talk to your mom about this. And I could see something like that happening. I really don't know. I think that this is a very delicate situation for OP. It brings up a lot of bad feelings and reminders about her previous relationship. And the controlling and manipulative aspects of it, and to see that kind of pop out in Dave and Susan's behavior probably adds extra trauma to her.
Yeah, well, that's a really good point too, is that they literally are manipulating the situation. They wanted to make sure OP could not say no to them, so they're like, oh, we've taken your daughter, don't worry, she's fine. They were going to insert themselves into her life whether OP liked it or not.
Yeah.
And that's not how being a grandparent works.
No, exactly. So let me know what you folks think. Anyhow, take care and good luck. And Mammoth Neat 5930 says, not the jerk, why couldn't they come to your door or write you a letter? Had they not just kidnapped your daughter, maybe you would have considered letting them be part of her life. They really need to come at their son, though. He's the one who abandoned her, and the entire reason they have no relationship with her granddaughter. And OP replies, yeah, that's what I was thinking. My idea is that they thought that I wouldn't let them see her, which I might have if they didn't commit a felony. And Birds Aren't Real says, not the jerk. Did your daughter know these people were her grandparents, by the way? And OP replies, I have shown pictures to Anna of her bio family at her request. I felt like I would be a bad mom if I didn't at least give her an idea of what her dad's background is like. Russian/Jewish. Alright folks, our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for refusing to help my son with his kids in any way? My 18-year-old son, Nikolai, had a oops baby with his long-term girlfriend, Selena, also 18, about 3 months ago. It had been a long understood fact in our house that if any of my kids have children young, I am not going to be there to help them. No passing off the kids to Granny. No Granny, can you babysit? No Granny, can you pay for this or that? None of it. I preached abstinence, unpopular I know. My son could have had a great future, very high book IQ. Very low life IQ apparently. But this happened and now that's all over with. The most help I've given him is to discount the rent at our house. Sometimes Selena drops the babies off over here when Nikolai isn't working so he can look after them. He basically agreed that whenever she feels tired or overwhelmed, she can bring them here and he'll take care of it. It's a bit loud when they're at my house, but I wear noise-canceling headphones and get on with my day. Day before yesterday, Selena dropped off the babies for the night. After a couple of hours of not being able to get them to go to sleep, my son basically begged me to help him. I told him that I'm sorry, but I'm not doing it. If I cave this once, then it's going to become a regular thing. He offered to pay me, but that boy is barely making ends meet, so I refused. I told him that he should try rocking the cradle with his foot, and I gave them a hug and went to bed. Well, the next day, when he gets home from work, he's in a terrible mood. I try to ask him how his day went, like normal, but he just flashed me a forced smile and went into his room. I know that he's upset. He's got 2 jobs and he works overtime, but he's just got to face the fact that this is his life now. I've talked to a couple of family members about it because I did feel a little guilty, but there's mixed opinions. Some think that I'm being too harsh, others say stick to your guns. Am I the jerk for not helping? Edit, since a lot of people are jumping to conclusions over my abstinence comment, let me clarify that yes, I taught him safe practices too, and put them in education at school. My kids agreed with me with abstinence as the best method too. Alright folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Yeah, I think you're the jerk here, OP, especially charging your child rent when he's only 18. This seems above and beyond. Like, I understand you do not want to be a full-time caretaker for your grandchild, and that's fine, but your son is working 2 jobs and struggling. You pushed abstinence on him and things got bad. He probably didn't feel safe coming to you about contraception and stuff like that if that's the kind of environment he grew up in, so...
Yeah, I think the biggest part that I have a problem with is the paying the rent. And you admit that your son, in order to make ends meet, right, literally to make ends meet, is paying you rent and whatever food costs I'm sure that he's incurring, because I'm sure he's paying for his own food as well. And the supplies for the baby. At any point in time, you could lessen that load by not charging him rent. And I think that he's a tired, exhausted individual, and part of being a parent is helping your kids even when they make bad decisions. I think that you should really reconsider the rent aspect here, unless it's a matter of survival for you. If you aren't able to make ends meet yourself, then maybe that's a situation that's slightly different. But I'm assuming, since you were able to raise your kids in this place, that that's not the case.
Well, it just feels deeply punitive. It's like OP wants to make an example of him.
Yeah.
And this doesn't feel like a loving parenting thing. And then OP expects him to just be happy and have a good relationship with her. There's nothing wrong with him not wanting to interact with someone who's basically like, oh, you're 18 now, you're an adult, you get a baby, bye. Like, yeah, you can still live here, but like, you're on your own.
Yeah. And I also think that you're approaching this very heavy-handedly. You said, his future is ruined because he had a child at 18. There are a lot of people who have children when they're very young, who are able to go off to school, who are able to make really great, bright futures for themselves. And I think that part of the reason why he isn't able to succeed is because you're not helping him you're not giving him any opportunity. If he's only working and he can't go to school and he can't expand his education because he's too busy working 2 jobs because you aren't giving him any kind of a break, then that's going to be really hard.
Yeah, and that goes back to the rent thing too. Like, it seems like if he has to pay, like, I don't know how much rent you're charging, but if it's not an insignificant amount of money, then like, you could at least lighten the rent load, and maybe he could go down to 1 job and do some classes on the side or something.
Yeah, well, it sounds like he's working 2 jobs and doing overtime. Mm-hmm. And if he's barely making ends meet at that point in time, something tells me that his rent is pretty high. Or that the cost of having a child is pretty high too. So, I don't know. I think that OP, that's really what makes you wrong in this situation. It doesn't matter to me the abstinence as much, though I think that you probably did, like Amber say, enforce these ideals of, oh, you're not a safe person to approach. But the thing that it's all under the bridge at this point in time. The fact is that there are consequences at this point in time, and you're not helping him out at all. And that's really what makes me feel like you're not in the right here. Let me know what you folks think. Anyhow, take care and good luck. Big Bayesian says, you're right. If you help your son, he might think that you might help him again. If you show him compassion or treat him like a person, he might someday experience pride or happiness, and that won't do now that he's broken your rule for how to live a good life. Why, if you spend time with your grandchildren, you might even develop a relationship with them. That won't do at all. When it's important, they know that you think of them as a mistake that ruined your son's life. Far better for you to hold your belief that if only your son hadn't given into one of his biological urges that 100% of his ancestors gave into, that he would still be a worthwhile person. Hey, since preaching abstinence instead of providing a safe sex education is highly correlated with teen pregnancy, I wonder if your parenting choices are in any way related to your son's choice that you disapproved of. You're the jerk. And user doesn't exist 404 says, grandchildren, don't ask Granny for nothing. Granny says those are oopsie babies. And Jessica1111 says, so, you have a responsible son working 2 jobs and raising twins with his longtime girlfriend. Just because he had babies younger doesn't mean that his life is over or his IQ goes down. I'm sorry, but you're a huge jerk. Your son begged you to help him and you said no. My children know that they can come to me for anything and I will do my best to help and support them. You are trying to teach the wrong lesson here. You should be proud of him. And Relative Dirt 1005 says she's retaliating because he didn't meet her expectations of what his life should look like. She's not teaching anything other than her love for him is conditional. Alright folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she's got an oh so funny joke. Ha 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 ha.
How did the phone propose to its girlfriend?
How did the foam?
Phone.
Oh, phone. Okay, I thought you said foam because there would have been a completely different answer if it had been the foam, because foam is evil. But the phone, on the other hand, isn't. It dialed the girlfriend up and said, hey, I know this is really weird because we're both phones and I'm just kind of telepathically talking to you inside my head here, but would you like to go to the prom? To which she said, beep, 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 beep.
In other words, the phone gave her a ring.
Oh! You know, I was thinking prom.
You were thinking of a promposal.
I don't know why. I guess the heat has just fried my brain.
It is very toasty.
I'm like, Oh, melting over
I
here.
ran out of water.
Oh, poor Amber. She ran out of water. Amber, I want you to know that I still have some tea.
I know you do.
And I have licorice spice, and I'm being very cruel to Amber. Alright, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy, spectacular, special Sunday. I hope it's as special for you as it is for me. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and guidance. I was trying to make a new word, but it wasn't a very successful word. Can you please make it in the form of a very punitive moral?
Very punitive moral, you say.
Yes.
If you don't treat your children well, there is a good chance they will go low or no contact with you later in life, and then you lose out on having your kids in your life.
Yeah. And also, if you kidnap somebody's children, don't expect them not to call the police on you.
Oh yeah, I even forgot about that story.
Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you all tomorrow.
Bye.